He landed the jet. Then he walked around it. And that's when he saw that the entire right wing was gone. May 1st, 1983. The Negev Desert, Israel. The sun is already brutal at 9 in the morning. The kind of light that flattens everything, that makes the desert look like it goes on forever in every direction. Above it, the sky is perfectly clear. The kind of sky pilots call perfect. Lieutenant Zevi Nadivi is 23 years old. He is exactly as good as you have to be to fly the F-15 Baz, Israel's top air superiority fighter, fresh from combat over Lebanon less than a year ago. The Baz rewrote the rules in 1982. 82 kills, 0 losses. The Israeli Air Force came out of the Lebanon War believing their pilots and their machines were close to invincible. Today is a training exercise. Dozens of aircraft in a tight block of desert airspace running simulated combat. The point is to stress the pilots, crowd the sky, make it complicated, push everyone past comfortable. Nadivi's backseater runs through his checks. The radio crackles with traffic from 20 different aircraft, all operating in the same piece of sky. It is controlled chaos by design. Then it becomes uncontrolled chaos by accident. At some point in the merge, an A-4 Skyhawk, a smaller attack aircraft also in the exercise, crosses into Nadivi's flight path. There is no warning, no time, just a shape appearing where no shape should be, and then white. The entire sky turns white, not from fire, from fuel. The A-4's tanks rupture on impact and 50 gallons of jet fuel atomize instantly into a cloud that surrounds both aircraft, reflecting the desert sun in every direction at once. For a moment, Nadivi can see almost nothing. The A-4 pilot punches out. His aircraft is already gone. What was a jet is now a fireball dropping toward the desert. He survives. Nadivi does not know yet what has happened to his own aircraft. He is already in trouble, and he does not know the full shape of it. The F-15 enters a spin, not a gentle aerodynamic stall, a hard, rolling, nose-down spin, the kind that in most aircraft has one correct response, and that response is eject. Nadivi's backseater knows this. The call comes immediately. Eject! Eject! Nadivi does not eject. What he does instead is something that makes sense only if you understand what he cannot see. The fuel cloud from the A-4 is still surrounding his aircraft. Through that white haze, his right wing appears to be there. Damaged, probably, but present. He has no way of knowing that the entire right wing, everything outboard of the engine nacelle, has been sheared completely off by the collision and is falling toward the Negev in pieces. He thinks he has a damaged aircraft. He has a half aircraft, and his instinct, the instinct of a pilot who trusts his machine and trusts his hands, is to fly it out. No, I can fly this. He lights the afterburner. Here is what happens when you light the afterburner on an F-15 that has lost its right wing. The thrust vector is still centered. The two engines sit close to the aircraft's center line, inside the fuselage, not in the wings. When Nadivi pushes the throttles forward, the force that comes out the back is roughly symmetrical. The spin slows. But that is only part of it. The F-15's fuselage, the body of the aircraft itself, is wide and flat and shaped by accident of its design, like a lifting surface. Engineers at McDonnell Douglas built it for strength and for housing systems. They did not specifically intend it to fly without wings, but the cross-section of the body generates lift at high speed. Enough lift, it turns out, to matter. Negev pulls the stick toward him. 150 pounds of force, both hands. Every muscle in his arms and shoulders working against an aircraft that wants to go in every direction except straight. The G-forces are working against him. The asymmetry of the aircraft is working against him. And somewhere below the alarms and the noise, there is a very simple physical equation playing out. Speed equals lift. Lift equals altitude. Altitude equals options. The spin stops. The desert steadies in the canopy. The horizon appears. The aircraft is flying. Eject. You have to eject. The backseater again, because from where he sits, the situation looks unsurvivable. I'm flying it. Call the tower. The tower at Tel Nof Air Base gets the call, and what they hear does not make sense. An F-15 requesting an emergency landing, one wing missing, speed far above any published approach figure, pilot refusing to eject. The ground crew moves, crash equipment positions. Every person on that runway knows that what is coming in has no business landing. The numbers don't work. A normal F-15 approach is around 250 kilometers per hour. What is coming at them is doing nearly 480. Negev cannot slow down. Slowing down means less lift. Less lift from the fuselage means less control. He is riding the edge of physics, and the only direction he can afford to move is forward and fast. The runway comes up. The touchdown is hard, has to be. There is no finesse available at this speed, only commitment. The jet hits the tarmac, and the tail hook engages the arresting cable, and for a moment, it looks like it might work. The hook tears free. The aircraft is still doing 480 kilometers per hour with no hook, no wing, and a rapidly shortening runway. Negev stands on the brakes. Everything the aircraft has goes into stopping. The tires scream. The nose pitches forward, and the F-15 stops, with the nose a few meters short of the end of the runway. The desert silence comes back. Negev climbs down from the cockpit. He is 23 years old, and he has just done something that is not in any manual, because no manual anticipated it. He walks around the aircraft. On the left side, the wing is there, damaged, scarred, but there. He walks to the right side. There is no wing, not damaged, not partially there, gone. From the root outward, nothing. The stub of the wing attachment point, some torn metal, and then open air, where a full flight surface should be. He stands there looking at it for a moment. Later, when asked what he thought in that moment, he says he doesn't remember thinking anything in particular. He just stood there. To understand why this matters beyond the story itself, remember what 1983 means for the Israeli Air Force. In the summer of 1982, during the Lebanon War, Israeli F-15 and F-16 destroyed 82 Syrian aircraft in the Bekaa Valley. 0 Israeli jets were lost in air-to-air combat. It was the largest air battle since Korea, and it was almost entirely one-sided. The Israeli Air Force came out of it with a reputation built on perfect machines flown by exceptional pilots. May 1st, 1983, adds something to that reputation that no combat mission could. It shows what happens when the machine stops being perfect and the pilot has to become more than the machine. The Lebanon kills proved the system worked. The Negev proved what lives underneath the system when everything else fails. In the hours after the battle, the senior command in Tel Aviv waits. Will Moscow respond? Will there be a diplomatic explosion An accusation, an ultimatum, a direct confrontation. Golda Meir is briefed. The American embassy is not briefed. Washington does not know this happened. If they did, the pressure to stand down would be immediate and overwhelming. But Moscow says nothing, because Moscow cannot say anything without admitting their pilots were there. The silence from the Kremlin is the loudest possible confirmation that the message was received. The Soviet Air Force does not fly combat missions over the Canal Zone again. Not like this. Not with their own men hunting Israeli aircraft. The war of attrition ends 6 weeks later, in August 1970, with a ceasefire. Historians will debate the causes for decades. But the Israeli pilots who flew that afternoon know what happened. They know that somewhere in the calculation that led to that ceasefire is a desert sky full of smoke, 5 falling MiGs, and a silence from Moscow that said everything.